Hi, I'm Nick Shell. The way you found me, you were looking on the internet trying to find ways to stop your hair loss. And then you found me. Like, who's this guy? What's he gonna say? Well, I feel that I've got some information that's very valuable. I'm gonna help you stop your hair loss from bothering you. I'm not saying that I'm gonna stop your hair loss. I'm gonna stop it from bothering you. Because in the end, if I can help you get your hair loss not to bother you, wouldn't that in theory be just as good as stopping your hair loss? It's just like the movie with Amy Schumer, I Feel Pretty. Physically she didn't change, but she believed she was as beautiful as she always wanted to be. So what's the difference? If you can be okay with still losing your hair, but it not bothering you, wouldn't that be something you'd at least want to hear about? Well, that's what this video is about. See, I've got over 4,000 subscribers on this channel. I've got years of experience doing this channel. And I've realized that out of thousands of guys watching my videos about hair loss, there's certain things they have in common. So I want to look at those things that they have in common to find out, maybe we can learn from the demographics of who's watching these videos so that you can overcome your hair loss and have it to where you can stop hair loss from bothering you. And I've written it down on this piece of paper. Let's get started with something easy and fun. I think the first thing that a lot of my subscribers have in common is that they have not ever buzzed off their hair. You know, here's something I personally, let me show you the box because I just bought it. This is the Remington Lithium Shortcut Pro. This is it right here. You can put different guards on it. This is a 0, but there you go. I'm putting an Amazon link in there, so if you want to end up buying it, you could probably buy it cheaper through my link than you could at the store. But that's the thing. A lot of guys that are seeing signs of hair loss or seeing what they think are signs of hair loss, they haven't recently had hair this short, whether it's a 0 guard like mine or a number 1 or number 2. They haven't done that recently. So it's one of the best exercises you can do to sort of gauge how you'll be perceived in theory without hair and how you perceive yourself without hair. And in case you're not familiar, studies are coming out showing that men who choose to get rid of their hair and have no hair like this, all the same length off, they're perceived as more confident anyway. And that's what so many men want. Your perception of others, from others as a masculine male, is often increased by you choosing not to have hair. So that's one thing I would suggest. If you're looking for your hair loss to stop bothering you, get rid of the hair. Maybe not permanently, just try it out. Just buzz it all off, same guard, and see where that gets you. I think that's one of the best confidence boosters because if nothing else, it shows you somewhat of a glimpse of your future. Whether you do go bald by 25 or 40 or whenever it's gonna be, for a lot of us, it's inevitable. And for the rest of men who still have full heads of hair, they still could lose their hair at some point. They could have a diffuse thing where it all thins out. So it's a great exercise to do. Just go ahead and buzz it all off, okay? So that's step 1 as far as getting to where your hair loss is not gonna bother you. All right, the next thing, it's a matter of thinking, do I have undealt with trauma in my life? Did something happen to me earlier in my life that I never dealt with and I never talked to anybody about? That I never talked to a professional about? And it could be lots of things. It could be that your parents got divorced when you were young, that your dad walked out, that you had a sibling that died, that you had a family member who's very close to you who got really sick. Anything that really just rocked your foundation, that's something that was out of your control in your youth and you never got it resolved with a professional. You never were able to talk to a psychiatrist about it or a counselor about it. And so therefore, you've got these pent up unknown feelings of, I don't have control over my own life. So that's number 2. The second way to sort of get over your hair loss is to think back about, do I have wounds in my life that are not dealt with, that I need to deal with, that I need to talk to a professional about? Because otherwise, this whole hair loss thing is just a trigger. And if it wasn't this, it'd be something else. Oh no, I want to be 6 foot tall, but I'm only 5'7". Oh no. And you'll find other reasons to not deem yourself worthy to be accepted and respected by society. So that's the second thing I want to encourage you to do with a professional as far as unpacking that, because I don't want that to hold you back your whole life. The next thing on my list is what I want to talk about on somewhat of a similar notion. It's a matter of people like me who are confident. We're not worried about other people emotionally affecting us. We recognize in our maturity that whether someone else insults me or not, whether I'm insulted by that comment, whether my feelings are hurt, that's my decision. I get to choose for anything that's said whether I'm offended. It's always a choice. But most people don't recognize that, and most people allow themselves to be affected and offended. Therefore, they give power over other people, over their emotions. Therefore, they're more likely to be bothered by something like a hair that's going away. But if you're like me, you do not allow other people to emotionally affect you. You take control of your own emotions. And that's step number 3, is to realize that and start living your life that way. And then you'll soon realize you're not catering to what you think society expects of you. You realize you're forming your own identity. All right, number 4 on my list. Which one do I want to do next? Number 4 is this. Number 4 is recognizing that society is judging you on a completely different set of rules than you are. Society doesn't care about your hair. Society, in theory, is actually more fierce than you think. Maybe society is a bigger problem than you realize. The good news is you're off the hook on the hair thing, because most men start experiencing hair loss by the time they're 30. Most. Society doesn't care about that. They know that's normal. Here's what society is judging you by: how confident you are, your education level, your skill set, how kind you are to other people, how helpful you are to other people. They're judging you on that. Women find those things attractive in you. Men want to be around men like that because that's a commodity. But most men that start losing their hair, especially when they're young, they cannot accept that that's reality. And they choose to live in a disillusioned version of reality where hairlines are everything. In the real world, the way the society is actually looking at you, they're judging you more harshly than you realize, but not on the thing that you think that they care about. They're judging you on your confidence, your kindness, your education, your skill set, your ability to help and lead others. That's what they're judging you on. Those are the things to worry about. I say focus on what you can control, not on what you can't. You can't control your hair. You can control those things, and those are the things that actually matter, but that's the irony. Most guys, it takes them years to realize, I should start worrying about the things people actually judge me on, because we're all being judged. And to some degree, we do need to care about what other people think about us as far as our identity. Society is yearning for confident men who help others and are kind and know their place in society and know their role and think, hey, I'm good at computers. Hey, I'm good at fixing cars, and making that identity so that they can even help others with that and becoming the educational source on that. In the same way, I'm educating you on a source, right? You can tell I'm a confident guy. All right, lastly, I saved the worst for last, and I talk about it in a lot of my other videos, so I'm not gonna spend much time on this one. But here we go. Most people don't realize how common access to pornography is these days. I'm 37. I've never chosen to look at pornography. But for a guy my age, it was a lot harder to get a hold of pornography, comparatively speaking, to guys that are in their teens and 20s now. And so therefore, I think we have this younger generation that's starting to see the first signs of hair loss, and boy, is it freaking them out, because they, by default, cannot have the same confidence as a man my age. Not only because I've lived longer, but because in my teenage years, they weren't spent by me looking at images that were not realistic and reinforcing subconsciously this thought that in order to earn a woman's affection, I have to actually look pretty perfect myself because she's perfect looking and she wants me in this picture, this movie, so I've got to step up my game as well. See, those are toxic lessons that pornography teaches you. Forget about religion, forget about morality. We're not talking about this. We're talking about psychology. So, there you go. How do you overcome your hair loss anxiety? How do you stop it from bothering you? Those are the 5 things. And these are things I've learned from my subscribers. So, if you like what you heard, if maybe you've never heard such an approach, feel free to subscribe. I got plenty more where that came from. I'm happy that you clicked on my channel. And again, if you're interested in taking that first step, you can just click on the link in the description. It'll take you to the cheapest version of this, because I think that is the first step, is just to go ahead and give yourself a preview of it. And it's funny because you can tell I can still have most of my hair, but I actually prefer this. I know that society perceives me as more confident and more of a leader without hair. So I'm using that to my advantage. I'm using my own advice in this video. Thanks for watching. You spent 11 minutes of your life that you can't get back, and I appreciate that. But I got plenty more where that came from if you want it.